Well, all right, everyone. It's that time of the month again. I see Ogata, I see Holster. Let's go ahead and get this reflection stream underway, shall we? Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here. Is it too bright? It feels like it's a little bit too bright. Hold on, let me edit. And it doesn't appear like y'all are even... Hold on. Let me edit. And let me make sure that chat is off to the side. There you are. All right, we are ready to go. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another One Piece reflection stream, where, for those who don't know, I always do this at the end of every month where we go over each chapter of One Piece we get every single month. And this month was on the lighter side, as June was one of the first months in a very long time, I want to say in over a year, where we got 4 chapters within a month, whereas July only gave us 2, which I am perfectly okay with because these 2 chapters were... I don't want to touch anything because I don't want to mess with my connection, but I'll try not to touch my desk too often. But these 2 chapters that we got in the month of July were fundamentally important for the story going forward. So, the chapters we got were chapters 1120 and 1121. So beginning with chapters 1120, which is titled Atlas, we go back in time 26 years ago to Punk Hazard, when Punk Hazard was a lush, green, and beautiful looking place before, 1, Caesar destroyed it because he wanted to disobey Vegapunk and detonate a bomb there, and 2, before it was irreversibly changed to half hot, half cold because of the fight between Kuzan and Akainu. But we go 26 years in the past, where we see Vegapunk with the little baby dragon that would later grow into a much larger dragon that would then get beheaded by Zoro during the Punk Hazard arc. And he's talking with a very much younger Clover, who's explaining how many times have you been with Vegapunk going, well, firstly, I need to say this. I recently watched a clip showing the English voice for the dub voice for Vegapunk, and I have to say, I missed an opportunity to give Vegapunk an Austrian voice when I had the chance. I really missed my chance because they gave him like an Austrian sort of German voice, and it sounds great. So, for this reflection stream specifically, any lines that have to do with Vegapunk, I'll be reading in that accent. But not forceful like this, because it's unnecessary. But Clover is speaking to Vegapunk going, please, Vegapunk, you simply must study the Void Century with us. There is a darkness there too deep for the world to leave unaddressed. The more we study it, the more we require expertise in other fields. As you can see, I am a government scientist now. I can't give you any data. How many times have you been arrested by now? They know exactly where to find you. Surely you know why they continue to allow you to live. It's because they're biding their time until they can round up and wipe out all of your friends. Pull back now. So what of the darkness? One cannot measure the good and evil of the past. Part of me is wishing that, man, when it was like, and I want to say it's over a year ago. It was over a year ago before we got introduced to Vegapunk in Egghead, because it was like last year when we got it. But I'm just thinking like, oh, if only I gave him this voice. But hey, I'm just going to keep giving him this voice that I have before. Pull back now. So what of the darkness? One cannot measure the good and evil of the past. I once saw a man with the name of D killed right before my eyes, without warning. A man I was born and raised with. My older brother. And it's in this chapter we found out. It's in this chapter that we find out that Professor Clover and his late brother are D's. So, Robin has had encounter with D's in her life, literally all her life, even when she was a kid. Because first, she was... Clover was the first D that Robin ever met, but she never knew it. And then after Clover, it was Saul. And then, of course, it was, like people later down the line, with Luffy being the latest D that she's ever encountered. And then, of course, when they all got separated and she was, with the Revolutionary Army for a while, Dragon, of course. But Robin has had a lot of interactions with a lot of Ds in her life. I want to say far more than any other person in the series when you think about it. Yeah, when you think about it, Robin has had the most encounter with Ds. And I'm thinking of what other character has had many encounters with Ds across their life. But Robin comes up as the one person that has had the most encounters. But this news shocks Vegapunk because he had no idea. My true name is Cloud D. Clover. So, if they were to give his name, if the world government were to give his name in life, like give his name, if they put a bounty poster on it, they would hide the D and call him Cloud Clover. So for the world government, his name would be Cloud Clover, but we know it to be Cloud D Clover. The same way they gave Gold D Roger the name Gold Roger. To make it so that people won't question what the D means. Because that's the big mystery. Not only is this is the reason why I love this series. And I'm going to be able to think about this more once My Hero Academia is over next week. God, I can't believe that, but this isn't a stream for this. So think about this. We've learned a lot about the Void Century, but not everything. Everything that Vegapunk has told us through his transmission was already substantial enough as it was. Finding out that ancient weapons is the reason why the world is mostly water, and finding out that there's all the islands that we see across the world are literally just the mountaintops and remainders of continents that have been completely submerged. So that tells me that every island that exists in the sea is actually just a mountaintop. Every island that exists is just a mountaintop of a much older, deeper continent that now rests underneath the ocean now. So I'm like, what were the elevations like 800 years ago? Like, what was the elevation like? But we get that news, and then Vegapunk is talking to Clover, with Clover going, how is it right that a person can die simply for declaring the name they were given at birth? Because something about whoever wields D is way too detrimental to the very status quo of the world government. It was definitely over a year ago we saw Vegapunk's design and met him for the first time in chapter 1066, which was either early 2023 or late 2022. Okay, hold on, let me do this. 1066. Official release date. Official US release date. Yeah, 2023. No, this is the episode. This is the episode. It took me to the episode page. Ah, here we go. Yeah, you're right. It was late 2022. November 14th, to be exact. Yeah, November 14th. Yeah, November 14th, 2022. And really, the fact that we keep seeing more people with D in their name showing up and being talked about more and more often, and the fact that they keep questioning, why do people who have our names, why do they keep trying to find us and kill us? Because there's something about those who carry D that the world government is absolutely terrified of. And the fact that they go out of their way to murder and try and kill every single member of D, or at least either apprehend them, or for the most part, they're trying to kill as many Ds as possible and trying to take out as many as possible, or make it so that people will not question what the D in their name actually means. It always kind of reminds me of the story in Exodus in the Bible, where Pharaoh feared an uprising of the Hebrews, so he had his soldiers go out and kill all the firstborn of the Hebrews in order to keep them from, multiplying, because the Hebrews outnumbered the Egyptians back then. And in order to, curb just the slightest 1 or 2% chance that they could rise up against them, they went out and just tried to kill as many as the firstborn as they could to ensure that their numbers would stay stagnant. So it's kind of like the world government here. They don't want any more Ds, and they have no problem killing them because whatever the weight behind this letter D for these characters carry, it's enough to make the world government come after them and either imprison them forever or just straight up murder them. And it's something that they don't want the world to know. So obviously, and I feel like it's not the Void Century that the world government is terrified of people knowing. I feel like it's really those who carry the D and what it signifies that they're absolutely terrified of. I'm learning from the best. Blackbeard has been involved with a lot of Ds too, but he is a D, so he doesn't really count. Yeah, but I just mean like people who don't have D in their name but have been encountering a whole bunch of Ds. Now, of course, the Navy has connections as well, and I'm pretty sure they've encountered a lot of Ds as well, but I really just mean main characters. I was thinking about Blackbeard too. Yeah, Blackbeard has encountered some Ds in his life. Luffy, Roger himself, Law. Huh. You know, I think other than Robin, Blackbeard has encountered quite a few Ds in his life as well. Huh, interesting. But Shonen Sensei! Oh, it's so good to see you. How's life? How's life been treating you, man? I know it's been a minute. It's great to see you right around. It's great to see you again, but I just want to know, it's such an honor to see you once again. I hope life has been treating you well. I wonder if there are any significance to the flames around the shoulders of Awakened Zone users, like Luffy's being white and Lucci's being black, and if it's somehow related to the Eternal Flame. That would be interesting, because here's the thing. Every Awakened Zoan that we have seen, specifically ones who didn't have their minds overridden by the will of the Zoan fruit itself, we've only seen, like, black-colored flames around them. But when it comes to Luffy, his is more like wispy and cloud and white. So it begs the question, what is the significance of them having like this veil around their shoulders? But that is an interesting question. Is there any significance to the flames around the shoulders of Awakened Zone users, like Luffy's being white and Lucci's being black, and if it's somehow related to the Eternal Flame? It could be. Was Blackbeard a part of the Baltimore incident or no, where the revolutionaries had to relocate to Kamabaka Queendom? I don't know if Blackbeard himself was there. I don't think he was. Because given the strength of all of his captains underneath him, I don't think it was necessary for Blackbeard to attack them and be there personally. Though we have no way to confirm or deny this, but I feel for Blackbeard, unless there was a really specific reason for him to be there personally, I honestly don't believe Blackbeard would have been there at Baltigo in order to, rescue Jesus Burgess and take down their entire former headquarters. But that's just me, though. And since we don't really have any evidence to confirm or deny, I'm just going to say, maybe. I'm just going to say maybe, maybe not. That's how I feel about it. I want to know more about devil fruits, though. Going back to what Shonen Sensei said, I really want to know more about devil fruits and just what exactly... Now, here's the thing. What we know of devil fruits is simply what Vegapunk has told us. And it's just a theory. A smart theory. And that's all we have to go on. But I would very much like to know the very nature of them themselves. Not Baltimore, Baltigo, my bad. It's all good. Don't even worry about it. It happens. It happens. But I'm guessing you had autocorrect that autocorrected to Baltimore instead of Baltigo. But I really want to know more about devil fruits and the fact that we've seen a Zoan awakening. We've seen a Paramecia awakening. There's only one type of awakening left that we have yet to see. And many of us have pretty much thought that maybe the awakening is permanently changing a landscape to that specific element to uh-huh, I saw it. I saw it. Yeah, Blackbeard went there with Shiryu, Lafitte, and Doc Q because Burgess was there and the revolutionaries had weapons they could take. CP0 also were on the island, but we don't know where else. Okay, okay. All right, cool, cool. At least we got that. Let me do this. Let me exit out of some things because... Let me exit out of some things because it wanted to glitch out on me. But we're good now. We're good now. I got a lot. I got some questions about like Zoans, but we'll come back to that. So, and we're still on chapter 1120, so we need to keep moving. Clover continues. How is it right that a person can die simply for declaring the name they were given at birth? There is a secret history whose traces are continually erased. And then Vegapunk he's silent because he knows. He knows. Vegapunk knows, but he doesn't want to say anything. I will not help you with this, and I'll forget what you just said. The most I can do is tell you to be careful. Vegapunk! I will solve this mystery someday. The voices of the past will be heard! And of course, he did solve it, but we never got a chance to see the findings of it because he was killed before he could reveal the name of this ancient civilization. Then we go back to 22 years ago, back when Caesar Clown was working under Vegapunk, and he was making fun of the fact that Clover got caught. It's Clover the archaeologist. They finally caught him by the toe now. Now no one will dare study the Void Century again. It's the perfect example to scare them all off. And Vegapunk's there, and he sees like a wanted poster of Nico Robin, who was the sole person who survived. And he's also thinking of the time when... Oh, this is also when Caesar was saying, like, did you hear about Ohata in the West Blue? They're going to place a Buster Call on it. So these are the events that before the Buster Call of Ohata, and then the events after, where he showed up, seen all those textbooks and all those papers inside of the lake on Ohata, and left the flowers behind. And that's also when he met with Dragon, who said, like, yep, this is going to be the start of the Revolutionary Army. So a lot of pivotal events happened after the events of Ohata. Hold on, let me get the stream in here. So that way I don't have to flip-flop between pages. Alright, cool. Let's see, I would really love to see another awakened mythical Zoan like Sengoku or Marco. One thing I love about Oda is that he always it's always the little details like Zoan Flame end up being improved later. Yeah. So here's the thing, and I'm gonna bring this up when we do I'll bring this up. End up being important later. This is something I'm gonna bring up once we get to the Devil Fruit deep dive stream for this upcoming Friday, and we're going to be covering Logias. And don't worry, I'll be thorough this time. But I also want to bring up like the concept of awakening for Logias and their potential, because like I said, we've already seen the awakening of Paramecius. We've already seen the awakening of Zoan users. Logias are the only ones that have not been shown a full awakening yet. And I feel like if we ever do see one, it's probably gonna be I can't say it's probably gonna be like a big battle when it's happening, because that's a standard way to think. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But Vegapunk is thinking back to the events of Ohata when he showed up, and Vegapunk is crying because he lost a friend. Did all of you die just to preserve this vast store of texts for the future? It's preposterous! What lunatic would dare risk certain death to continue your research? And he's thinking this back then, before we get to the present where he goes, Someone once said that the voices of the past will be heard. History is told by the winners, and the voices of the losers at the bottom of the sea are so very faint, but the truth was gleamed at the cost of so much sacrifice has at last been told to the world. Just now. And then we have the Sunny preparing to set off, but Lilith Zoro's all like, shoot us off, but Lilith is warning them, saying like, hey, even if you use Kuda Burst, you don't have enough distance to clear for the water, and you'll just wind up crashing down to the ground below. And they're saying this because Lilith says your horizontal projection distance let's see. I understand that your ship can accelerate to fly a distance of 1 kilometer, but if he manages to reduce the run-up speed at all, your horizontal projection distance drops. It's a northward wind that'll reduce your lift. I love that. I love the Einstein voice for Vegapunk. Perfect fit. 10 out of 10. Shonen Sensei, I should have went with this when I was doing Vegapunk's voice when he first appeared, because that's the accent that they give him in the English dub of the anime. And I didn't want to do the accent because it was like so stereotypical, but realizing that Oda based Vegapunk off of Einstein himself, it probably would have fit if I stuck with it. But Lilith is saying your horizontal projection distance drops. It's a northward wind that'll reduce your lift. And according to my calculations, the ship will crash onto hard ground without reaching the water, as long as you don't get rid of that old geezer. And while she's describing this, Atlas comes in and knocks her completely unconscious, much to the shock of Usopp, Chopper, and Zoro. Wait, the dub is up to Egghead? Yes, they're already an Egghead. When I tell you the One Piece dub has sped through all of the previous seasons in a record time, they are already at Egghead, and they're giving previews of Luffy's first encounter with Vegapunk when he was stuck inside of Emmet. The dub is already an Egghead. Remember when the dub was like a full year and a half apart? Remember when they were just so far apart, it was like, we're all the way in Wano, and the dub is still in Whole Cake Island. Like, we were deep in Wano in the Japanese dub, and then the English dub was just still in Whole Cake Island. Well, they done sped it up, and now they're in the same arc as the Japanese dub, as the Japanese sub, as the sub. So yeah, the One Piece English dub team, they've been working. They have been working. And I got to catch up with the dub myself because I dropped off of watching One Piece because I was literally doing this and catching up on games and watching other anime. So I literally have a ton of One Piece dub that I can just binge watch right now. But yeah, they've already gotten to past Wano because Kevin Sobolov, the voice of Kaido, he literally just gave his final farewell to voicing Kaido because he's done. He's done voicing Kaido. He literally said he did his last lines for Kaido. So they're already and that's him saying it, even though Wano was well past the point of like Wano being over. They're already an Egghead now. But yes, Kevin said like, yeah, it was an honor voicing Kaido. So it was like, wow, they're done, and now they're getting ready for Egghead. Well, actually, I can't say they're in the middle of Egghead because they gave a preview of his voice and not necessarily say, hey, we're already in the middle of Egghead. So I want to say they're starting Egghead. Let me be specific. They're starting Egghead. I want to say they're starting Egghead. But they already got their people together for who's going to be doing what voice already. Kent Williams, who many of you may know as, like old Kai from Dragon Ball. He's the voice of Vegapunk, and he sounds great. But getting back to the chapters, we could talk about this all day. I remember when Kaido and Jack's voices were heard for the first time. I heard Kevin's voice for Kaido, and I have to say, when it comes to English dubs, his voice is perfect. the right amount of deepness and gruffness that Kaido can output vocally. He's perfect. He's perfect for the role. But getting back to the chapter, because I'll get stuck on talking about the anime for a hot minute. Getting back to the chapter, Atlas runs up and completely knocks Lilith unconscious, with them questioning why she did that. And Zoro is looking like he's preparing to draw one of his swords right there. He's preparing to draw, and Queen's let me see. And Queen's VA was the best. I know it's the best. Zoom, 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 zoom. Remember how long ago that song was? Especially the episode where they're having a party? Sorry, let's continue on. Zoro jumps up towards where Atlas is, and he's already got his sword in hand. Like, he already has it preparing to draw. Because it's not on his back. He's preparing to draw it, going like, why did you do that to Lilith? And then Atlas is huffing and puffing, and she turns off the transponder that Lilith is wearing. And she looks back at everyone and goes, take care of Atlas. Fly, I'll remove the obstacle. And then all the Straw Hats are questioning what she means, and she goes, Lilith's access just... And then it cuts to York, who goes, Lilith's access just shorted out. Only Atlas is left. Pretty much giving her the impression that Lilith has been completely destroyed by a member of the Gorosei or someone else. But that's not the case. Lilith has been pretty much shut off from the network. Kind of like Agent Smith removing his earpiece and disconnecting him from the rest of the agents in the system, and him not being privy to what they're doing, nor them being privy to what he's doing. So it's kind of like that. And Lilith is unconscious, and then we get Nasjuro, who starts running towards the Sunny, full sprint, because he's already back up after his initial clash against Zoro, with both of their Kitetsus hitting each other and sending each other in opposite directions. Nasjuro was the only one who didn't have anyone to catch him, so he took the longest to get up. But he starts running towards the Sunny, and everyone's all like, wait, Atlas, explain, as Atlas starts flying towards Nasjuro. And then Jinbei is holding on. Jinbei is holding on to the wheel, and he's preparing with him going, let's get going. What, are you sure, Jinbei? We'll regret it if we're too slow to act. Hit it, Brook. And they use a coup de burst right as Nasjuro tries to bear down on the Sunny, but not before Atlas flies towards Nasjuro, losing her left arm in the process, but proceeding to hold on to him and latch on to him, despite her losing an arm, and rocket him out of the way of the Sunny, with Vegapunk continuing in the background going, I can only pray that this message has made it safely out to the world at large. And it shows Emmett after, he got chomped on by the, well, not, actually, that doesn't happen yet. Let me see here. It's really a shame that One Piece doesn't get the same love in the US as it does in Japan. 4Kids. Yeah, I didn't like Kaido's voice at first. It took me some time to get used to it, because when we heard his voice in the Dressrosa arc, I hated it, but then the more I heard it in Wano, I got used to it. Oh, I loved his voice the moment I heard it. It's exactly what it needed to be. Deep and threatening. And it was perfect the very moment that I heard it. I think I talked to you guys when I heard Kaido's voice. When I first heard his voice, I think I had a stream and I was playing a game or something, and we were talking about something, and I told you guys that I absolutely loved his voice in the English dub, and I was really looking forward to like the Wano arc and whatever. Let's see, it's eventually, and then started liking it. A hammer gun. Hammer gun? But yeah, I feel like the love for One Piece dub was, like impacted by 4Kids and their horrible rendition. And also, people tend to try and be elitist and say, like, sub is superior to all anime. And if you like dub, then there's something mentally wrong with you. Like, gatekeepers that seem to think that the only way you can watch an anime is in either, is in sub only, and not give an English dub a chance. I'm sorry, but it was bad with that sort of introduction. I can see why it wasn't, let's see. While other shows like Naruto didn't have that hindrance at first, it was bad for you. It was bad for you, Halster. For me, I felt like it was a very good voice, and it got even better as Wano went on. But that's for me, though. That's for me, though. But, Atlas holds on to Nasjuro and sends him flying away from the Sunny as the Sunny uses a coup de burst in order to get away. With Vegapunk going, I can only pray that this message has made it safely out to the world at large. And and then we get back to the coastline of Egghead, where it shows the Navy like questioning what's going on. Whoa, what's happening, Vice Admiral Hound? That huge boar, the snake, and the bird, the robot. I don't get it. I didn't hear about any of this. And then Luffy, still enamored by the fact that a giant robot is there on Egghead. I do this a lot. I notice that I've been doing this a lot. Am I doing this on reflex? I feel like I'm doing it. I feel like I'm doing it on reflex. No, that paragraph's about oh, you're talking about the 4Kids. You're talking about the 4Kids version. 4Kids version of One Piece. I get it. I completely agree with you. The 4Kids One Piece was not a great way to introduce One Piece to the US. It was not good at all. It was not good at all. Hey, Zolo. Lega Web Supreme. Gut Stuffer. Party Table Kick Course. Like the different names that they gave for Sanji. They gave this dude like he belonged in. They gave this dude like he got voice, like he belongs in a Rocky movie. And yeah, give up, Zolo. Why do this, Zolo? Give up on your dreams. And they gave him that sort of voice. I feel like the only person that was really giving their all and was phenomenal the entire time in the 4Kids dub was the voice actor for Zoro. I think he was like the only really, really good one who was trying to do the best with the trash he was given, but he was by far the best. I'm confused about one thing. Will the remaining Vegapunks still have access to the Egghead network if the island's destroyed? Do they retain the knowledge, or do they forget it all? That's a very good question, because all of Vegapunk's knowledge is in Punk records. But here's the thing. I don't think they want to destroy Punk records. Sure, they'll raise all of Egghead to the ground, but why destroy a vast amount of information from the world's smartest mind? Because that'll just be hundreds of years of advancements and research that'll just be gone. That the world government won't have access to. And as we know, the world government loves to have access to everything while keeping it away from everyone else, especially when it comes to secret information and just information in general. So for me, I feel like it's their plan. It's their plan. Their plan is not to destroy Punk Records, because that's information they could use against everyone else. They're really just there to just raise the rest of the island to the ground. But since Punk Records is separate from the ground itself, they're more than likely they're excluding it. And not more than likely, not probably, they are excluding it, because that was literally the stipulations. Hey, don't mess with the Mother Flame, don't mess with the power plant that can create the Mother Flame, and don't mess with Punk Records. Destroy everything else. Because that's stuff that they want to use, because as far as they know, that'll be information that they can use to create more Mother Flames, along with the one surviving Vegapunk. Because you only need one Vegapunk and Vegapunk's knowledge to still make use of Vegapunk. And since York isn't the type that seems like she would go the same route as Vegapunk in acquiring vast amounts of knowledge, because she doesn't have the brain fruit, the Punk Records would definitely help her out, given the fact that her main role as a satellite was eating, using the bathroom, and sleeping. As smart as she is, that is pretty much her function. So Punk Records would very much help out a satellite whose main function has nothing to do with thinking or coming up with brand new ideas. But yeah, that's just how I feel about it, though. So getting back to this, Luffy is just awestruck by the robot, by Emmett, And even the Giants are all like taken aback by it. Frankie, he sees it as well, and I think that's Sanji who's all like, "Oh, cool, a robot." And Emmett is trying to talk to Luffy. Sanji with his lollipop, Helmeppo with a hammer gun. Oh, that's what you meant, hammer gun. That's what you meant. You know what? That was buried so deep in my subconscious that I had no idea what you were talking about until you said Helmeppo with the hammer gun. And now I'm like, who did this? What is their name? A hammer gun to threaten Kobe with. Chocolate chips instead of onigiri. Poison suction cups. It's stupid they skipped arcs like Little Garden. Yeah, they skipped Little Garden. They skipped the whole moment where Usopp had a moment of bravery when he was running away from Chu back in Arlong Park. They kind of eliminated that whole section where he had to be like really man up. They completely eliminated that, so that's gone. So many missed. You know what? Maybe we'll do a deep dive into the world of One Piece, of the 4 Kids of One Piece. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a deep dive into that. One day, maybe. We'll see. But Emmett is trying to speak to Luffy, going, "Joy Boy, I'm so happy I get to see you again." And Luffy, confused, looks behind him because he doesn't understand who's talking to him. He hears the voice, but he doesn't know where the voice is coming from. "I'm talking to you." And then Vegapunk's message continues. "It would be foolish to hear about a war fought 900 years in the past from only one side." "You go ahead. Your enemy is my enemy." "Oh, I'm so happy. I get to fight for you again, Joy Boy." And then Luffy, realizing it's a robot, goes, "This is amazing. You can talk." "Joy Boy is in danger. I must protect him." And then Warcury and Jupiter go, "It seems we cannot end Vegapunk's speech unless we shatter this thing to pieces." Oh no, what have I done? It'll be good content, I can't lie. It'll be fun to make fun of. Oh yes, it would. It would. I'm definitely going to do some research and find as much incriminating evidence of what 4 Kids did to One Piece during its first stint here in America, and we'll make a session out of it. It'll be a nice, entertaining session as we make fun of 4 Kids One Piece. But then then Dory and Brocky go, "Get this ship moving! Is that thing on our side, Straw Hat?" And Luffy goes, "Well, it says it wants to protect someone named Joy Boy. Who's that?" "It's saying something. I don't hear it." "What? You don't?" Luffy still doesn't Still doing it. Luffy still doesn't understand that he has the voice of all things, which is something that, Roger didn't fully understand himself, but it's funny how everyone else understands what Roger and Luffy have, but the very users of it don't understand what it is either. Like Momonosuke has it too, along with like Odin and Roger, but no one understands what it is, but everyone else is all like, "He has the voice of all things." What? What are you talking about? And I'm like, none of y'all have ever caught on. But then it cuts to Bluegrass, who goes, "Don't let them sail away! Fire!" And mind you, Vice Admiral Bluegrass is still in her child state thanks to Bonnie. Remember, it's only temporarily. "History requires a multifaceted approach to understand entirely. If only I had more time on my side. Alas, there are forces outside of my ability to stop." And Jupiter rears his very ugly head and tries to clash against Emmett. It's winding up. It's gonna shoot something. And I'm actually really surprised to see Sanji this excited to see a giant robot fight. This would be something we would see from Luffy, Usopp, Frankie, Chopper. But Sanji being this enamored to see this excited to see a robot fight? Didn't really think too much of it. Didn't really think he would be the type of person that would be into that sort of thing. But Jupiter runs towards him, and because Jupiter runs towards Emmett, and Emmett is preparing to fire some sort of weapon out of his wrist, but nothing happens. And Emmett is surprised and goes, "Huh?" What? Look out, robot! And then Jupiter takes off an enormous chunk of Emmett's entire left side. He literally just bites off a whole chunk of his entire body. No, Robo! That's a 900-year-old weapon. Of course it doesn't work anymore. And then Mercury goes, crush it between your jaws, Jupiter. Oh wait, this is Saturn. This is Saturn who goes, crush it between your jaws, Jupiter. Stop that transmission. And Jupiter and Saturn runs on the back of Jupiter and uses it as like a launching point for him to launch out towards the giant pirate ship, and he latches on. You're not going anywhere, Kuma, Bonnie. And as he's saying this, Sanji looks up and sees the Sunny flying towards them. And as that happens, Zoro goes, hang on tight, going down. Wait a second, are we even going to make it? And Atlas, who's still holding on to Nasjoro, she gets slashed away by him. Like, just slashed through her entire body by him. As he goes, you would sacrifice yourself.
Nope. Extra service. On the house.
And she self-detonates. She blows herself up, engulfing Nasjuro in the explosion in the process. And while the Sunny... I'm still doing my hand this way. I'm still doing it this way. It's a habit. I gotta break it. And while she blows up and the Sunny is flying off due to a Kuda burst, the explosion gives the Sunny that extra boost of distance that allows them to not only clear the clouds, but also make it towards the ocean as well. 25 years ago, the pirate Goldie Roger completed an unprecedented tour of the entire world. And what he and his crew heard were likely the purest voices of the past. In conclusion, as I'm sure you've all surmised by now, my view of our future is thus. And he doesn't say the end of his message because we get it in the next chapter. Because while we're there, while Vegapunk is, I'm still doing this. I'm still doing my hand this way. While Vegapunk is giving his message and the Sunny is falling closer and closer to the ocean, safely now, it shows Nasjuro. It shows Nasjuro just straight up regenerating right then and there. And this is just another instance of like devil fruit powers extending the clothing, because not only is his entire head just straight up regenerating and reforming like he's a Logia, it's really weird. It's not just like bits and pieces. You literally see part of his head just completely blown, like just a whole mess of his head right here, completely blown off. And then it's just like stretching and ebbing and oozing and just reforming itself. And then it shows York, who's very happy, and she's laughing, going,
Atlas is gone! Now the only Dr. Vegapunk left in the world is little old me!
And Nasjuro goes, no, not yet. No, not yet. And there's a sound effect for his head, and it's a crick sound, like a cricking sound effect as his whole body regenerates from completely surviving this explosion. No, not yet. Not while the Stella continues to Babylon. And then Jupiter goes, yes, of course. We'll stop it at once. Jupiter and Mercury, of course, as they start to bear down on Emmett, who goes, uh-oh, I'm all rusty. Joy Boy, you said when the time is right. I think this counts. I'm gonna use it, okay? And while Vegapunk is saying, like, in conclusion, as I'm sure you've all surmised by now, my view of our future is thus. And some prisoners in Impel Down are going like, wait, what? What does he mean, Goldie? Because everyone knows Roger's name to be just Gold Roger, or just simply Roger. They don't know that he has Gold D. Those who are knowledgeable in the world, they know that he has a D, but everyone else who's just oblivious to history, they just see it as gold. So that is the end of chapter 1120. We now move on to 1121, the upheaval of an era. And I feel like after this is a perfect chapter for Oda to go on break on. So while that's happening, we still have Saturn, who's on the bow of the giant warrior pirate ship, and he's trying to kill everyone while the giants are using their basically bucklers to Yeah, the Giants are using their bucklers in order to stave off Saturn's attack. I had to wait for it because OBS disconnected and then reconnected again. I need to figure out what that was. And Luffy's warning them, saying, like, watch out for the claws. They're poison. Don't touch them. And Saturn is still trying to murder everyone. I hope Emmett survives. There's only one way to find out for sure, because we don't even know what Emmett is about to do. We don't know what Emmett is about to do. So I think it's a little bit soon to say, like, I hope he survives. But let's see what he does first. Let's see what he does first before we say, I hope he survives. Let's see what he's about to do. But Saturn starts eyeing Luffy, or it looks like he's eyeing Luffy, because he still has those crazy eyes. Those crazy old man eyes. Those crazy old man eyes. Luffy goes, he just keeps coming down to the very end. And while he's winding up, Luffy notices Bonnie, who has reassumed her form where I am most free state. And Saturn aims for Bonnie, which Luffy punches away with his fists, using Haki this time. And then Bonnie's back in the air, with Saturn livid, furious, angry, very upset even. And he goes, Bonnie! And then Bonnie starts wheezing, with Luffy going, that's it, Bonnie, you can do it! Do you think the world government pushed the misconception of his name being Gold Roger to the public as a form of propaganda to draw the spotlight away from the D problem? Yes. Yes, that's always been the case. Because you know it's been the case when the world government had an issue with Luffy's D being included in his name on his wanted poster. They had an issue with the D being included. They would have preferred his name just to be like Monkey Luffy, and that's it. Or with no D to be seen. And they were even more upset when they found out that the form he took, the form of Nika, was also made public as well. Like, why is the D on this wanted poster? And why is that picture of why is that the picture they used for this Monkey D Luffy? So yeah, it's to keep people from questioning what the D is. It has always been a state of propaganda. Because any person that has like a D in their name, if they get a wanted poster, the world government tries to either scrub the D in their name completely, or combine it with another part of their name. Roger's name just happened to be perfect for including the D with the gold part, so that they could just say that his name was Gold Roger. So it was fate, if you will, for Roger's name to be that way, so that the world government could easily, just hide the D. Because out of all the people in the world to question having a D in the name, Roger's name having a D, the King of the Pirates, people would be curious to learn more about the King of the Pirates. And if you're curious about something, and you want to learn about something, you want to learn all about it. That includes the name of a thing, the reason behind the naming, and possibly what that naming could mean, and all the finite details that come with it. But when it comes to people, if you want to learn about people, a lot of people try to learn their full name. If you're trying to get to know someone, it's one of the things that comes up. And sometimes, if you're good friends with people, you try and figure out, okay, so what is this name? Who named you this? Where did they get the name from? How did they come up with this name? What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? Those sort of questions happen. And the world government doesn't want anyone asking questions at all. Least of all about what does this D letter mean? Because when you ask those sort of questions, people tend to find you, and then you stop asking those questions because you disappear. So yes, it is. I just realized Law's poster doesn't have the D. Of course not. Because it's another bout of world government propaganda. We do not need the world questioning what the D means. Because if I remember correctly, don't they call Blackbeard... Don't they call him Marshall D. Teach on his wanted poster? They don't call him Blackbeard. They don't call him Blackbeard on his wanted poster, do they? Hold on, let me look it up. Let me see his wanted poster. I know they got a picture of it. They do? Yeah, I figured as much. They do call him Marshall D. Teach. Yeah, his most recent wanted poster has D on it. His most recent wanted poster from the time skip has a D on it. So for me, I feel like the less they show of people having a D in their name, people don't ask too many questions. But they definitely don't want people to know that more D's exist out there. And the reason why people know of the letter D is because the people who have D in their name tell them. And that's only if it's trusted people. Because D, for some odd reason, for the world government, is so taboo that it warrants, the death penalty as much as trying to look into the poneglyphs and the Void Century. And I go back to what I said earlier early in this session. But yes, it is. I do agree with you, Shonen, that it is a bit of world government propaganda in order to hide the D from the name so that people don't ask questions. Because the world government doesn't want a world where people question them. The world government wants a world where people just obey and behave like the little insects that they see them as. So if you're asking questions, you're a problem. If you're trying to learn stuff that the world government doesn't want you to learn, you're a threat to everything they stand for. Ain't it crazy? You try and learn just a little bit of history beyond what they publish in books that the world government has pretty much said, like, you're allowed to say this, you're allowed to say that, or you could spend the rest of your life in Impel Down. It wouldn't surprise me if they give people and librarians and anyone who publishes anything that is history related that sort of ultimatum. If you want to learn stuff, you have to learn what we give to you. You're not allowed to learn anything beyond that. Don't worry about those subject matters. They're considered illegal, punishable by death. You're not allowed to learn. Because the world government doesn't want people to learn. They don't want them to know history. Because if they know history, they can understand why their future looks so bleak. But that's just me. Let's get back to the chapter, because we still got to get through this. So, Bonnie jumps up in the air, and Luffy goes, "That's it, Bonnie, you can do it!" And Vegapunk starts to conclude his message. "One day, the messages of the Void Century will be recalled, and mark my words, that day is coming. The sinking of the world's continents was a man-made disaster brought about by weapons. Weapons which, by someone's design, still exist today." And it shows Shirahoshi, it shows Vivi, and it shows Canis, along with Isa, and what appears to be Wiper, and some other members that are up there in Skypiea. "The machinations of history and fate seem to insist upon the obliteration of those last descendants of rare races." And it centers on Kuma here, and it also centers on King and Pudding. Yo, Ravi, good to see you. He and Luffy have a D in theirs. I'm curious if Dragon has a D in his wanted poster. I want to see his bounty so bad. So does everyone else. What bounty do you give the most dangerous man in the world? So it's a good question. But yes, Ravi, it's good to see you. Welcome, welcome. But it shows Kuma, who's a buccaneer. It shows King, who's a Lunarian, and it shows Pudding, who is a member of the Three-Eye tribe. And Marco is also listening in on this transmission by Vegapunk because he's remembering the story that Whitebeard told him when we were being told what a Lunarian was before King was revealed to be a Lunarian. And King is thinking back to his memories about when he was persecuted and looked at as like a free meal ticket because he was a Lunarian, because the world government was looking for some Lunarians. And Pudding is thinking back to when she was being made fun of because she has 3 eyes. And then we get back to the giant ship with the pirates, with the giants going, "It's Nika!" And Luffy and Bonnie's in the air. She goes,
"If there's one score I have to settle, it's with you.
With that mimicry, a pale imitation." And Luffy goes, "Get him!" And he proceeds to be the best wingman in this entire skirmish between Bonnie and Saturn, as he knocks away the limbs of Saturn to keep it from hitting Bonnie, because Bonnie has, like she said, she's got a score to settle. And she's thinking back to, because since she saw Kuma's memories, she saw every moment that Saturn had with Kuma, including when Saturn proceeded to beat him down back when the Celestial Dragons was having that human hunt, back when Kuma first got the Nikyu Nikyu no Mi, back when the rocks, back during the God Valley, she literally just looked back at the God Valley incident. So she saw Kuma being persecuted and beaten up and just mistreated as a child by Saturn, so she's upset about that.
"You'll pay for what you did to my daddy and what you did to my mommy!"
And Kizaru is still laying down, not saying a word. Mind you, this dude is conscious. He's conscious, but he's not doing anything. You know, the fastest man alive, the man who can move at the speed of light, who has clearly recovered from this, but is not moving. He's still down. Then we see Sentomaru. And then Bonnie goes,
"You people aren't gods, but gods do exist."
And Bonnie vaguely remembers, you know, her own mother, when we don't see her face, but Bonnie remembers reaching up to her mother's face when Jenny says, like, "Hi, Bonnie, it's me, I'm your mommy." And remembering when she used to dance with Kuma, you know, doom da da da, doom da da da, doom da da da.
"But gods do exist, and so do heroes. I wish we could have lived together as a family. There were times I wanted to die if I had to be alone, but I won't. I'm going to live! Because they wanted me to be alive."
And Bonnie is, you know, having a memory of Kuma along with Ginny, even though that moment really didn't happen. She's just thinking back to her mother and her adoptive father.
"Liberation!
Insects! Vermin!" And, you know, Saturn is getting mad and upset. I love doing screaming evil characters. I'm sorry if I get loud, but I just love doing their voices. But Bonnie goes,
"Liberation!"
And Luffy has assumed a giant size, and he hockeys up on both of his fists as he's just smiling in the back. "If the worst should come to pass, I want you all to take care of yourselves. No matter what should happen, I believe in the intelligence of mankind. I believe in science." And then it interrupts the message where he says, "Roger died 25 years ago. Whitebeard died 2 years ago. But the fall of these legends was merely the prologue of a new era." And as it shows Mercury and Jupiter bearing down on Emmett, but not before we see the members of Galila and Iceberg. We see Caesar arguing with Judge. We see the old dudes of Weatheria. We cut to one building that's amongst the fire on Egghead. We see Luffy unleashing some giant hockey-imbued punches, with Bonnie unleashing directly in the face of Saturn.
"Liberation! Nika punch!"
And she punches Saturn directly in the face. And Luffy, and I said this before, and I said this when I was on during Roger's stream of this chapter reaction, because he was at EVO at the time. I said this, and I said The punches that Luffy leaves behind on Saturn, along with Bonnie's punch, may be the most brutal we have ever seen Luffy injure anyone. And I know that like they can regenerate and stuff, but this is the most brutal we have ever seen Luffy punch anybody. Because when you look at Saturn's body in these two panels here, there are holes in his body, which means that Luffy was punching hard enough to leave holes in Saturn's body. While, and mind you, he is in his transformed state, where if we are going by the Zoan law and rules, then that should significantly make him even more resilient to, like blunt force trauma and just damage, because that's how typical Zoans function. We still don't know if they are considered Zoan devil fruit users or if they're actually demons. That's still up in the air. But he left holes in his body. We see so many limbs of Saturn just falling away in pieces. Saturn is just left literally in pieces. Parts of his face has holes in it. His beard has holes in it. You can see straight through his body because the holes go straight through his body. His legs are falling all around him, and it would appear that he's falling towards the ocean. We don't see a splash yet, but he's falling towards the ocean. And the giants start cheering, and then Bonnie starts crying, and then Luffy starts laughing. There's a lot of emotions here. And even Kuma's sitting there off to the side, and mind you, his face has just been dour this entire time. It's just been basic and emotionless. But here it would appear that he's given like a slight smile, which begs the question of how a person who has had his entire will and memory erased, how is he responding to all that's happening? How is he still going on? How is he able to function beyond what he's been programmed to do? So many questions. But everyone is cheering, going, "Good job, Bonnie! Look, isn't that your ship?" As it shows the Sunny right above the giant warrior pirate ship, and it's falling towards them. With Usopp, screaming bloody murder and screaming like, "Falling! Dying! Help! Falling! Dying! Help!" And Chopper is holding on to Jinbei. Jinbei is just, and to think 100 chapters, another giant spider was defeated, assuming Saturn falls into the ocean. Right, because is this 100 chapters after Black Maria was defeated? Assuming Saturn falls into the ocean, this is 100 chapters from the last spider boss we had to deal with. Has it really been 100 chapters since the Black Maria fight with Robin? Is this really all? Wow! Where does the time go? It's already been almost pretty much 100 chapters since Wano, since that fight with Black Maria. It'd be interesting. It would be interesting. But Jinbei is piloting the Sunny as they start falling. Zoro, sheaths his sword again, and Vegapunk continues, because I gotta continue what Vegapunk said. "And now, these people who refuse to buckle under any and all suppression, who are the closest to the truth." Wait, hold on. They are the ones who are the closest to the truth, ironically enough. Then again, perhaps it was Roger who sent them there. And then we have Roger. We have flashback where he pretty much jump-started the entire golden age of piracy and goes, "My treasure? Why, it's right where I left it. It's yours if you can find it. I've left everything in the world there." And it shows Rayleigh and Shaki putting a cloak over her husband. Rayleigh is just passed out, mad, drunk. And then all the pirates around the world are listening to what Vegapunk's saying, because they're getting excited, because they're being reminded of not only what Roger said, but also what Whitebeard said. "The person who winds up with it may not be the one Joy Boy desired." And then we got back to Pirate Island Full of Lead, or, Pirate Island or Beehive. Is the Commodore's crew back yet or what? I can't just wait around like this. Everyone is getting excited because of what Vegapunk's saying. Also, there's still a giant major crack in the middle of the main mountain fortress because of Garb's presence. So that's still very much there. Then we cut to the Red Force, ship of Shanks, as they go, Captain, you might have had too much. No, I'm not. You're drunk. And Shanks is just mad drunk. Not only is his former first mate, no. Not only is the first mate of the ship he was formerly on mad drunk, but Shanks is mad drunk as well. So it was all like first mate of the Pirate King, like cabin boy. And then we have more people listening in, including all the brain dead individuals who still follow Buggy because they think Buggy is some sort of monumentally successful person, and the dude literally fails upwards. He falls backwards. The ground gives way underneath him. A piece of rope then wraps itself around his feet, causing him to swing underneath the ground and right back up again. The ground seals up behind him, and the world just gave him the favor of just preserving his life. That is how ridiculous they see Buggy. Buggy could step forward, an explosion could happen in the distance, and they'll think, Captain Buggy took a step forward and he blew up that building! All hail Captain Buggy! That's literally every single member of his crew except for the people who were on his crew back in Orangetown. But they're going, we weren't wrong after all, Captain Buggy. You always find a way to outdo our wildest imagination.
Huh?
We had no idea the story was this vast. And I'm like, what? Oh yeah, you're right, oh god, I just looked it up. Black Maria's defeat was chapter 1021. Yeah, it's been exactly 100 chapters since our last spider-related foe was beaten. So this upcoming chapter should be an interesting read. But all of Buggy's crews, all of his like subordinates underneath him, save for his OG crew members, are all like, "Oh, we had no idea the story was this vast.
Huh?
There's no ceiling to your ambitions." And if these crew members question literally anything that Buggy did, they would instantly know that he's a fraud in terms of his power, and he only got where he was because of sheer dumb luck and happenstance. But everyone just sees everything that happens in the world as an extension of Buggy's will. They are literally literally rolling through the world as if Buggy has that Yujiro Hanma presence. We're not living in this world. We're alive because Buggy allows us to be alive. His influence is everywhere. He knows everything. He has Crocodile and Mihawk on his team, and they serve under him. He is supremely powerful. He wants to go after the One Piece. All hail Buggy! And Buggy's all like,
what are you guys even talking about? Did I ever say that I wanted to go after the One Piece? Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
He's literally literally being dragged around by his own crew, but the crew thinks that he's the one pulling all the strings. Because these subordinates, if Buggy was in Fallout, he'd only be level 10 with 10 luck training. Now, if he was in Fallout, he would be level 10 with his luck maxed out and every luck-related stat increased, including Ricochet. Because for those of you who play Fallout 4, there's a skill called Ricochet where you have a slight chance of bullets that are shot at you to suddenly ricochet off of you and kill the person that shot those bullets. And it has multiple levels that allows you to increase the chances of those bullets ricocheting and hitting opponents. And I believe there's a skill, hold on, let me look this up. Hold on. Fallout 4 luck perks. Where is Ricochet? Ricochet. Okay, better criticals, critical banker, grim reaper sprint, four-leaf clover. Here it is. All right, so enemy ranged attacks can sometimes ricochet back and instantly kill them. Rank 1. Sorry, flowing piece of lint. Gotta vacuum my room again. Enemy ranged attacks will sometimes ricochet back and instantly kill them. The chances of this are increased the closer to death you are. Rank 2, the chances of a successful ricochet are even higher. And then rank 3, the chances are increased further, and there's a chance that your critical meter will refill in the process. So Buggy is operating on maximum luck. Maximum luck from Fallout. His charisma is at an all-time high as well, but that's only because of the people around him and just the events that happen around him, and not he himself having the charisma. It's just the world around him perpetuating the appearance of him having that. But his crew's all like, there's no ceiling to your ambitions! And Mihawk and Crocodile are looking on with exasperated expressions thinking, there is no way the people who serve Buggy are this stupid. Like, even though Crocodile and Mihawk are not the type of individuals to give exaggerated facial expressions, you know the facial expressions we got from Whitebeard and Odin when Toki wanted to travel with each one of them, like Toki wanted to travel with Odin and he gave her this little and then Whitebeard gave Toki the same look when she wanted to travel with Odin, like they literally are given this look of like, we are with this guy? There is no way that these crew members can be this dumb. So they're giving that look. Then we cut to Navy HQ while someone screams, it cannot happen! We must find it first! Then who's going to save the people? Then who's going to save the people? Think, idiots. Because they're all like, we need to find the One Piece now! We need to find it first! And then someone reasonable, we don't know who this is who's being reasonable and saying like, we don't know who it is who's being reasonable, saying like, then who's gonna save the people? Think, you idiots. Think, idiots. There is no stopping the tide. The fate of the world now rests in the hands of the one who finds it. The person who lays claim to the One Piece. And this is the third time that not only is the One Piece being proclaimed as real, but also the third time that the One Piece is being referenced by an incredibly influential individual that everyone knows of and doesn't really doubt too much the information that they give out or sees them as an incredibly reliable source of information. This is the third time this has happened. This started with Roger, where he pretty much just told everyone, hey, I'm dying. He didn't say that. He did not say I'm dying. Someone asked him, hey, where's your treasure? Where's everything you left behind? Where's the One Piece? And Roger said, I left it all behind, but you guys can have it if you want. You just gotta find it. And that is what basically propelled the entire golden age of piracy. Then, during the Marineford War, I'm going back in time. I'm going back to what I did with the most recent reaction. Then, we go to the Marineford War, where Whitebeard dies, but before that, he proclaims that the One Piece is real, much to the chagrin of Sengoku and all the Navy who are there, reigniting the golden age of piracy. And now we have Vegapunk, who's posthumously giving even more confirmation that the One Piece is real by saying, the fate of the world now lies in the hands of the one who finds it. The person who lays claim to the One Piece. So now this is just gonna, if this hasn't already ignited people to be pirates, or if this hasn't ignited people's desire to continue being pirates, this is definitely gonna do it. Because the pirates who are just chilling, yeah, we got a package at the door. I'll grab it in a minute. But the pirates who are already trying to be pirates, who are just chilling, are probably going to be propelled to try and find the One Piece even more now, because this is the third time that the One Piece is being referenced and told that the fate of the world now lies in the hands of the one who finds it. So not only is the One Piece where pirates can go or try and go after for people to... Not only is it a goal for every pirate to find the One Piece and be proclaimed the Pirate King, but now we have the added bonus of not only is the world on borrowed time, but the fate of the world will lie to whoever gets the One Piece. So now it begs the question, does this mean that the world being completely submerged in water can be prevented? Think about it. Think about it. Vegapunk says that the world is slowly sinking into the sea. But why say the fate of the world lies in the hand of whoever lay claims to the One Piece? So is there a possible way for the world to be submerged, to be stopped? Is Vegapunk possibly giving a chance that, hey, the world can actually be saved by whoever finds the One Piece, along with gaining access to this immeasurable treasure, whatever it is? The fate of the world lies in the hands of whoever finds it. Imagine if Big Mom heard this message. Yeah, she would have liked it. She would have liked it.
Now we really need to go find the One Piece. Mama!
Yeah, she would have liked this message. Both Big Mom and Kaido would have loved to hear this message if their bodies weren't currently submerged in lava right now, and then subjected to an incredibly violent and earth-shattering explosion. But, it's interesting. It's interesting, and that's the end of the chapter. That's the end of the chapter, ladies and gentlemen. So now we have even bigger stakes for finding the One Piece. It's no longer a race for who gets to become Pirate King. Whoever finds the One Piece could decide the very fate of the world itself. It's no longer, oh, we get the One Piece and now we're going to be the most free individuals in the world. Now we have the added stipulation of we get the One Piece and then the very fate of the world will be in our hands. The fate of the entire world will be in our hands. That's where we're at right now. The One Piece is no longer the big stop. It is literally the one way to possibly save the world. And mind you, we've already heard the statement of saving the world, because we heard it from Kuma. We heard it when he was sending all of them away, when he was doing inner monologues to himself back in Sabaody, and he was sending all of the Straw Hats to these different locations. She'd have loved it and hated it because the One Piece, and on the other hand, livid since she'd have to deal with more rookies, and she doesn't like that, especially after her ordeal with Kid in Law. And to think the people who had 2 of the 4 poneglyphs won't be able to witness the One Piece. Yep. There will be the very 2 people, Kaido and Big Mom, who had 2 of the 4 poneglyphs, won't be able to see the One Piece at all. Their very goal for even joining up with one another in Wano. Let's take over the entire world and then go after the One Piece. Now they'll never be able to see it. They'll never be able to see it. Because 1, they lost. They lost. They lost their title as emperors. They're just, if they were alive, because I feel like, sure, they can be incredibly tough, but I don't know about surviving entire volcanic eruptions from underground in the deep recesses of the ocean where pressures can get incredibly deep. But if they were to survive, just imagine a world if Big Mom and Kaido were still alive. And I'm saying they're dead. I'm saying they're dead. Even though their status is currently known, I'm like, there's only so much the body can take. So I'm just thinking, even if they were to come back, their title as emperor is gone. They would just be regular pirates. They would just be normal, regular pirates. Strongest creature in the world doesn't mean much after you lose. No matter what happens in land, air, or sea, always bet on Kaido. Can't use that quote anymore because he lost. Big Mom, I don't care. I don't care if she's got a tea party coming on. I don't care if she got a tea party coming on. What's she gonna do? Oh, threaten me? Let me go get Eustace Kid and Trafalgar Law. Let me go get both of them, and then let's see if she gonna invite me over to another tea party again. I ain't going to no tea party. What's she gonna do? I ain't scared of her. Because here's another thing. When you're a pirate and you lose, and you witness this loss, that intrigue, that level of threat that you've presented to people from your visage beforehand, that starts to go downhill. Because if other people aren't scared of you, then that will periodically increase the amount of people who aren't scared of you overall. And one of the key ways that Big Mom has been able to, usurp her control over others is by inducing them with fear, which leaves them susceptible to the soul fruit. If you have no fear of Big Mom, she can't rip your soul away from you and thus leave you in a state to be manipulated further. If you have no fear of these emperors, mind you, one case where you didn't have fear pretty much wound up destroying his entire crew. If you have no fear of these emperors, then these emperors are no longer as threatening as they used to be. And I'm saying this only in reference to Big Mom and Kaido, because Eustace had no fear, and he found out that he wasn't him at all. He should have had fear, because fear would have told him it's a bad idea to try and go up against Shanks. It's a bad idea. Oh, I don't care how many people are in my way. I'll just blast them all. Kid, I know you can hear me. It's your conscience. I know you can hear me. Don't take on Shanks. I'm gonna kill them all, and then I'll get revenge for my missing arm. Kid, it's not worth it. Live to fight another day. You just got done fighting. I'm going to murder all of them. Well, it was nice knowing you. Does anyone else need a better conscience? I'm trying to sound like the Jiminy Cricket from the Puss in Boots movie. Does anyone else need a conscience? Because apparently this young feller doesn't want one. And we all saw what happened to Eustace when he didn't listen to common sense. Even Killer tried to warn him. And he just got completely obliterated. In Elbaf, Big Mom is going to have a presence, whether it's physical or more in spirit, kind of like Ace, but the opposite effect, where Ace was in Wano and spirit with a positive impact on people. Well, with Big Mom, obviously, it'd obviously be negative since the Giants hate her. If Big Mom ever gets referenced in Elbaf, I mean, we're just going to have to look back when she was just 3 years old, and she demolished their entire village and even killed one of their elders just because she wanted a croquembouche. Just because she wanted some semla.
I'm hungry.
No, you can't eat.
You need food.
And it's like a 3-year-old with the strength of the Hulk just bodying everyone around her because she wants sweets. That's how you know Big Mom didn't get no whoopings. That's how you know she didn't get no whoopings when she was younger. But that's it. That is it for the 2 chapters we got in July. Now, I know it seems like this stream may end up being just a tad bit shorter than what I would normally do. But simply because we only got 2 chapters. We only got 2 chapters this month. We're entering into August. We're entering into August already, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that crazy? Ain't it crazy how we're entering into August already, and August is going to be Black Myth Wukong month? That's insane to me. That's insane to me, but I can't wait for it. But now it begs the question, what are we about to see in August? Because I feel like we're still wrapping up Egghead before we move on to the next arc. We're still progressing forward, but I feel we're about to see some of the last moments of Egghead before we start to move on. Because we have yet to see whatever Emmett is about to do. We have yet to see Saturn fall completely into the ocean. And one thing that was brought up during Roger's stream that I noted of, one thing that I noted that was spoken about in Roger's stream is, remember, if we lose Saturn, this technically won't be the end of us seeing Saturn. Because who else was on Egghead that, waited for the right moment for them to infiltrate into Egghead? Came in, both members seen Saturn in a disheveled state. One member took the time to touch Saturn in order to, potentially gain his appearance, and then proceeded to warp away. If this is the end of OG Saturn, this probably won't be the end of us seeing a Saturn. Think about it. If we lose him here, he'll still be seen, but not the Saturn we know. So wouldn't it be interesting if we lose Saturn, but Saturn is still seen around the world because Katarina Devon is impersonating him? How you gonna whoop her? I don't blame her parents for being unable to. I don't even know how her mother gave birth to her unless she was tiny and her growth spurt hit different. She grew at least 3 feet every 2 weeks. 3 feet every 2 weeks, and then it kind of stopped when she hit 3 years old, and then it got even bigger when she started to actually grow up. But yeah, think about it. If we lose Saturn here, this won't be the last time we see a Saturn. And Blackbeard wants his island to be government affiliated and has Garp as a hostage. Think about it. What better way for Blackbeard to have some of his ambitions seen further along than to have a member of his crew impersonate a member of the Godosei who has, incapacitated or died, have them impersonate that member, and thus being the highest authority in the world can allow something like Blackbeard Kingdom to be a thing. Thus allowing Blackbeard not only amnesty, not only to be a pirate, but a world government affiliated nation? A world government affiliated pirate nation. Meaning that he'll be able to have access to, because think about it, he'll be able to have access to everything from Marie Joie down. The information that the Godosei have. All of that. Think about it. And I said it. It's incredibly dangerous that Katarina Devon has touched Saturn in order for her to basically gain his appearance. Because think of all the things that you can learn. All the things that you can learn as you're impersonating a member of the Godosei. Think about how much secret information they know of that the world doesn't. Think about it. That is that is such a scary power to have, because that's what makes what is it? Was it Ino no Mi model Kyubi no Kitsune, the Nine Tails fruit, being able to transform into a person perfectly without having to need to change your clothes like the clone fruit requires you to in order for you to fully look like that person, because the clone fruit only allows you to look like the person physically, but not, clothing wise. You need the extra stuff in order to put that together. But with Katarina Devon, she can basically look like anyone she wants to in one fell swoop, and it's just that easy. So imagine being a member of one of the 4 emperors of the world. Least of all, one of the most nefarious and most evil. And you have them infiltrating the most secure, the most sacred, the most important location in all of One Piece. And you just have a full run of the area. I feel them taking the form of Saturn as the contingency to get Beehive as a kingdom and not Garp. That was just coincidence, because I don't think he even knows. He didn't even know Garp was coming. I feel like Garp, it really isn't the bargaining chip. Now that you mentioned it, how have the ships not noticed Blackbeard's ship? Was invisible because she temporarily replicate devil fruit powers. Can she temporarily replicate devil fruit powers because she was able to impersonate Absalom? No. I don't think it extends to her being able to replicate the powers of another. This is not a awakened Himiko Toga situation. I honestly feel like, given the fact that Van Augur can warp away a certain amount of distance, I feel like they're probably miles out and he just teleported over there. But, it's kind of straining on him because he's still not used to being able to teleport extremely long distances. So, but I don't think she replicated the powers, though. I feel like the Blackbeard ship is just that far out. Oh, Ozzy, good to see you. I will definitely catch the rest of your reflections once I get home. Just stopping by to say greetings, fellow peoples. Embrace yourself for Sunday's episode to see Garp. Yes. Oh, boy. Saturday night is going to be something. Saturday night is going to be something. It really is. Oh, I can't wait to see it. But I feel, and I've said this before, I don't think so. She can look like him, but not use his powers. That may be her awakening if she awakens her fruit, though. Then it'll just be like Himiko Toga's quirk when she awakened it. Not only being able to look like a person, but being able to use their quirks as well. I feel that would be a tad bit too similar, and I don't think Oda's the type of individual that would go that route. Food's on the way. I'm sure there's limits to Devon's powers, and we have no idea how long she's had her powers. Yeah, there's always a limit. Because Van Augur, he can't just instant transmission to everywhere he wants to. He can go long, no, they're bringing it. They haven't brought it yet, but they're bringing it. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up soon, so that way I'm not trying to eat on stream, because I feel like I don't need to say too much more for too long, because I just want to get everything out. But, yeah, there's obviously limits to all of their devil fruit powers, but we just haven't seen it yet. Like, think about it. We've seen so many limits of devil fruits thus far. Like, with Law, he can't use his power too often because it drains his stamina. And Luffy, there's only a certain limit that he can stretch his body. With Logias, we have never seen them suffer any sort of drawback from them using their powers from long periods of time. That we know of. Zoans, I mean, they're given superhuman levels of increased strength and durability and endurance as well, but even they have limits. Even they get tired. So I feel like every devil fruit has its own sort of weakness, but we don't know what the members of the Blackbeard Pirates crew's weaknesses are for their own devil fruits aside from the standard devil fruit weaknesses. And I'm so curious about all of them. Now, mind you, the ones that are already easy to explain and the ones we've seen before, the easier ones to explain are the ones that, I feel like their weaknesses are purely based just on the strength of the user. Like, for example, Jesus Burgess has the strong fruit. Dude was already a monster when we first saw him during the time skip when he was fighting in the Corrida Coliseum, and he just one-shot everyone. And now he has a devil fruit power that essentially gives him Hulk levels of strength, where he can pick up an entire mountain and throw it. So that's insane. Limitations probably by the strength of the user. Then we have Van Augur, who can basically warp anywhere he wants to. This isn't like Shave of the Cypherpole agents. This is literally instant teleportation. This is human teleportation at its finest. Then you have Shiryu. He can turn invisible. Not just himself, but also any weapons he has attached. So he can literally approach you looking like he's, he doesn't have anything in his hands, and he can stick his arm forward, and then suddenly his sword just becomes visible again, and it's sticking through your entire torso. As was the case when he tried to stab Kobe, and Garp took the hit instead. Then we have Doc Q. His devil fruit is basically creating any disease. And we don't know the limitations to that. We have Avaro, Pizarro, or Pizarro, regardless of however you pronounce it. He's basically able to turn into a Nile man. We've seen his weakness. his whole body, when he's using this devil fruit, he still becomes susceptible to damage, which is why Garp was able to rip him a new one when he tried fighting back. Not only did he suffer damage on his arm because of Kobe's honesty impact, but he also suffered immense damage directly to his own face because of Garp's Galaxy Divide. So, we've seen the weaknesses of that. Even though you become an Isle Man, it does not make you immune to the damage you suffer. It simply just makes, it actually just kind of makes you a bigger target. Because if enough damage is done to the environment, it comes back to you. Unless you move your whole body out of the island itself and don't take control of it, you getting hit. So Avalo probably has the biggest circumference when it comes to, getting hit. Then we have Senwan Wolf, who is able to, basically just grow to an immense size. And that kind of makes him a bigger target as well, because that did not keep Garp from throwing his body upside down into the ocean. And everyone on Pirate Island had to pitch in and drag out Senwan Wolf, because Senwan Wolf is not only big, but also he can't swim because he's also a Devil Fruit user. So, there's that. Then we have Vasco Shot, who has the Glug Glug Fruit. The true nature of this devil fruit, we still don't know. We still don't know it, let alone anything about its weaknesses or if there's a debilitating effect to it, but I highly doubt that it is, because you know the way that Smoker is basically a smoke person, and he can basically smoke as many cigars as he wants without ever suffering its effects because he can essentially turn into smoke. I honestly feel like Vasco Shot, even though he has the name of heavy drinker, the dude can drink as much as he wants because he's a booze man. I feel like this Glug Glug fruit also gives him the immunity of the negative effects of alcohol as well. Sure, he can still get drunk, but it's probably not going to do anything to him. Because that's one thing we really haven't touched on. A lot of devil fruits give people immunities to certain things just because of the devil fruits that they have. And we haven't really talked about it. People really haven't, when you think about it, people really haven't brought that up. Since we saw that, oh, you can turn into smoke. Well, now you can smoke as much as you want and it won't do anything to your body. Everyone else smokes, you'll still get lung cancer if you keep doing it. But Smoker, he's the only one who's immune to it because he can turn into smoke. So therefore, the effects of smoke doesn't mean anything to him. And then when you have Kizaru, who can turn into light, lasers themselves don't do anything because he is essentially light himself. So, when it comes to Vasco Shot, he'll probably never be able to fully suffer from getting drunk, simply because his whole devil fruit powers allows him to use the effects of drunkenness. The very nature of being drunk won't negatively affect Vasco Shot at all. So he probably Ozzy, we gotta touch on this as well. Lafitte is the only person with a devil fruit that we don't know what that fruit does. He can create wings for himself, but that's it, and we don't know anything about it. Matter of fact, he is the only person whose devil fruit is unknown to us out of the entire Blackbeard crew. Kuzan, we already know. Avalo, we know. Burgess, we know. Devon, we know. Stronger, we even know that, and his is kind of redundant because it doesn't do anything except just give him wings. Cause he ate a mythical type horse devil fruit. He's already a horse, and he ate a horse devil fruit that turns him into a Pegasus that doesn't do anything except give him wings. But everyone else we know the devil fruits of and what they can do for the most part, except for Vasco Shot. But Lafitte is the only one we don't know. Oh yeah, I forgot Vasco Shot had the drunk fruit. Yeah, maybe that drink-off idea is a bad idea, especially with Vasco Shot's personality, especially towards women. Especially towards women? Yeah, especially towards women. And especially considering the fact that this dude's literal nickname when he was imprisoned in the lowest level of Impel Down is called Heavy Drinker. When your nickname is making people realize you like to drink alcohol a whole lot, your nickname is called Heavy Drinker, and every other scene you're seen in is you drinking? Like, remember the scene from the most recent episode of the anime, where Kobe was running away from everyone, and everyone was trying to figure out, okay, Kobe's escaped, but we can't kill him. We can't kill him because Teach would be mad. And Vasco Shot comes floating into the area on a bubble, which I honestly believe is created from him as well. So the dude can use bubbles, like alcohol bubbles or some bubbles of some kind, to, transport himself and fly around. Because when you see him drinking that big old, drinking that big old gourd full of, alcohol, the opening for it is as big as his mouth, and he's just chugging it down, and also losing so much drink in the process. I can't be those types of individuals that is drinking something and it's trickling down the side of my face because I don't care about it. Sorry, but juice be expensive. Toppa, 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 toppa. Yeah. And I know in the dub they give him Delfa. They give him like Delfa. They give him that sort of they gave him that sort of laugh in the Impel Down arc in the English dub, and I thought it was kind of funny. Delfa. Yeah, that little detail always slips my mind. Keep him away from Robin and Nami at all costs. Yes, keep him away from everyone. Matter of fact, let me look up Vasco Shot real quick. I just want to read up on him. And to think this dude already looked weird when he was back in Impel Down. Then he gave himself all of this weird looking, this clown makeup for the most part. All right, let's see. Appearance. Let's go to personality. As his epithet suggests, Shot's general bearing is that of a nonchalant, somewhat droopy drunk, having yet to be seen in a sober state. How strongly inebriation affects his personality is unknown. He does seem to hate the idea of sobering up, as he at one point suggested to his crew that they invade a town somewhere solely because he had run out of booze. However, Shot's apparent goofiness seems to belie his viciousness, which is established by the supposed cruelty of his crimes that led to his bygone imprisonment, said to be of outstanding brutality even by the standards of Impel Down Level 6 prisoners, and as a result of which his very existence had to be erased from history. Upon his crew's arrival at the Summit War of Marineford, Shot was seen asking permission to kill everyone present at the scene, suggesting a lust for violence. Vasco Shot has displayed a lecherous nature, such as when he tried to dissuade Devon from killing Boa Hancock, suggesting that they could have fun with her if they took her away. He also felt enough lust towards Boa Hancock to be affected by her devil fruit ability. And Shot, like many characters, has a signature laughter style. Yeah. Keep him away from any women! Really, I'm curious what the Blackbeard versus Straw Hat matchups could be. Tale as old as time. This is what a lot of people keep asking. They really want to see who's going to be the matchup for who. I mean, it's pretty obvious who's going to be going up against who with the Blackbeard crew against the Blackbeard crew for some people. The most obvious for me, Zoro versus Shiryu. Zoro versus a man who can turn invisible. So that'll be Zoro's ultimate test of because we've seen Zoro's test of how strong his armament hockey is against someone. But how strong is his observation hockey that'll allow him to survive going up against Shiryu? There's that. Van Augur, obvious adversary for Usopp. Both of these individuals are incredible marksmen, with Van Augur shooting seagulls out at sea from all the way in Mocktown, from a distance where you can't even see the island itself, and even the Straw Hat crew were looking all like, what's happened to all these birds? They're suddenly dying all of a sudden. And this was Van Augur pretty much killing them. Luffy versus Teach, literally obvious, because Blackbeard is one of the final obstacles that stands in the way of final antagonists for the entire series as it stands. I mean, due to everything he's done, he is pretty much one of, if not the final antagonist for this entire series. So Luffy versus Blackbeard, Zoro versus Shiryu. Either San Juan Wolf, Jinbei versus San Juan Wolf or Avalo, or Sanji versus San Juan Wolf or Avalo. But for me, it may be Sanji versus Vasco Shot due to. But for me, it would probably be Sanji versus Vasco Shot because of his behavior. Because Sanji loves women, and Vasco Shot apparently likes to mess with women. Like San Juan Wolf, I see Frankie, since San Juan is known as a colossal battleship, and then Frankie would use, General Frankie against San Juan Wolf. So for me, Sanji versus Vasco Shot, Frankie versus San Juan Wolf, Doc Q versus Chopper, then possibly Robin versus Katarina Devon, and then Nami versus Lafitte. Wait a minute. No, Jinbei versus Jesus Burgess. The strength of a fishman, pretty much the strongest fishman that we've seen thus far, versus a person that literally has a devil fruit that gives him even more strength. All right. Nami or Brook versus Lafitte. All right, I forgot Brook. Wait, how many members of the Blackbeard crew do we have versus the Straw Hat crew? Do they both have 9? All right, I forgot. Oh. Brook versus Lafitte. Nami versus Katarina Devon. Robin versus Kuzan. Because I feel the conversation. Hold on. Sorry, I was watching a Game Grumps episode. Robin going up against Kuzan would present a very interesting discussion, considering it was both Saul and Kuzan that made a way for her to escape Ohara during that Buster Call. Yo, Solo Leveling Ragnarok is out, 13 chapters at that. Are you looking at a fan scan, or is this on Tapas? Because y'all know I don't be reading any early scans of stuff. Hold on, Solo Leveling. I don't see it on this list yet. We don't have an official English dub. We don't have an official English release for Ragnarok. Not yet, anyway. And if they have, I have yet to see it. But yes, I'm Ramil. It's good to see you, my friend. I look forward to reading Solo Leveling Ragnarok, but I'm not going to read it early with fan scans because I'm strictly official, even if there are 13 chapters out right now. I refuse because I just want to read officially. That's just how I operate. I got Luffy versus Blackbeard, Zoro versus Kuzan, Sanji versus Shiryu. Okay. Jinbei versus Burgess, Robin versus Avalokitesaro, Jewelry Bonnie versus Katarina Devon, Frankie versus San Juan Wolf, Brook versus Vasco Shot, Nami versus Lafitte, and Chopper versus Doc Q. Jewelry Bonnie? That's if to say if Jewelry Bonnie becomes a member of the Straw Hat crew. Ice versus Fire. Yeah, because Vasco Shot can shoot out those burning alcohol. Where's that piece of dust coming from? Just blew it away. From his like Spitfire shots. It seems plausible. But it's the Jewelry Bonnie versus Katarina Devon one that may need some more work, because we don't know if Jewelry Bonnie is if Jewelry Bonnie joining the Straw Hat crew is a thing. But that's only, well, assuming Bonnie joins the crew. Okay. Interesting matchup. Very interesting matchup. Personally think she could join the revolutionaries, considering that's where her mom, started out. I would not be surprised if Bonnie goes that route as well. Fan translation for now, but I just want to let you know so I can watch your reaction when the official translation is out. Of course, Ramil. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Because not everyone gets it. Not everyone gets it that I like to read strictly officially. Even though I could be reading this stuff early, I just like to be official. Because what if someone officially sees my channel and be all like, "Oh, is he reading the official chapters?" Nah, we can't sponsor him because he's reading fan sites early. I just want to be strictly official so that there isn't no discrepancies on translation, because whatever is said officially is what's getting published in the books. So, Ramil, I appreciate you being understanding for how I operate. I really do. Thank you. Thank you. See, there's also another reason why I have you as one of my moderators, because you and me, we here. But Bonnie joining the revolutionaries. I'm curious what happens with Lilith. Well, as far as the Godosei and York think, Lilith is no longer alive and no longer a factor to be concerned with. All the stuff that Lilith could possibly learn while she's off the grid and the world government doesn't even know, and not to mention, since we're going to Elbaf, all the information that Vegapunk learned, is stored at Elbaf, where he read up on it. She could learn that as well. Would be interesting. But then again, considering that Lilith doesn't have the powers of the brain fruit, her being able to retain all that knowledge it's actually we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, because that could be like a whole whole nother discussion, so I won't go down that route. You think she joins the revolutionaries, but she is vastly different to Stellar Vegapunk? I mean, she is Lilith the Evil. She is the most prone to using gadgets and inventions and weapons against people with extreme force. So I'm pretty sure she'll get along with some members of the Revolutionary Army just fine. But it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. We'll have to see. I will say this, though. The month of July, while it was light on chapters, we only got 2. I'm still doing this. That's a habit I really got to break. Since we only got 2 chapters of One Piece, it was relatively light compared to the 4 that we got in June. But I still say the final chapter we got this month, where Vegapunk is proclaiming that the fate of the world lies in the hands of the ones who claims it. The one who claims the One Piece. I feel like that sort of proclamation is by far one of the scariest things for the world government to have broadcast all around the world. Because they already tried to murder the king, they already tried to kill the king of the pirates in order to stave off the idea of becoming a pirate, and it had the exact opposite effect. They thought that by waging war against Whitebeard and killing Ace, they would not only eliminate Roger's bloodline, but also in the process hopefully bring down one of the members of the Emperors as well, even though they saw their chances as slim, because that's how strong Whitebeard was. He literally turned this entire war on its head, reigniting the golden age of piracy once again, and it led to a time skip where many pirates who were going after the One Piece made a presence for themselves, literally everyone we realize and come to know from Dressrosa onwards. And now we have Vegapunk giving this proclamation to the entire world for a 3rd time, for this reignition of the golden age of piracy. And this is even worse now, because even more there are even more pirates. The world is already in turmoil. We just lost the 7 warlords of the sea to Seraphim cyborgs. The world is reeling from all this stuff that's happening. Nations rebelling against the world government. The Lelusia Kingdom just disappearing off the face of the earth. A worldwide earthquake that has caused some islands to become uninhabitable. The world is still in chaos. And we're not even talking about just a whole section of the Reverie when the revolutionary armies declared war on the Celestial Dragons, eliminated their food supply, and have put them in a dire state right now. Not even not even coming to the fact that we just seen the introduction of the Holy Knights with Figureland Garling, and all that went with that. We had a celestial dragon killed and executed because of their efforts to save the pirates who, not only assaulted Charlos, but also instigated in a celestial dragon, being a celestial dragon, and it made all the other celestial dragons look bad. It was like he's a traitor because he treated them as human. Not only do we have that going on, but we got Blackbeard out there fighting Law. Law got away. Eustace trying to fight Shanks. Shanks said, "No, go away and die." And now their entire crew has been destroyed. Ship has been destroyed. So many things have happened in the world of One Piece. In Egghead, we have Luffy fighting with Bonnie, and we see all of the members of the Gorosei present and accounted for with different demon forms. Mongolian Deathworm, Giant Gyuki, Bakotsu, and Itsunade, and what is it, a Fangchi. And we got all these different members of the Gorosei showing up in what could be regarded as like, this looks like a final boss battle, but this is literally scratching the surface. All of this stuff is happening right now. And you mean to tell me that there's more? After all this stuff that's happening right now, you mean to tell me there's more? This is just Egghead. Still have hope for Kid being alive at least. You better get saved, because I don't know too many people who can pass out in the water and then survive, slowly floating in the water if they've been bodied that hard before. Dude could not move. And then his ship gets destroyed with him and the rest of his crew on it. Maybe he's alive. Maybe. But there's just so much chaos right now. And you mean to tell me Vegapunk leaves a message saying, like, the fate of the world lies in the hands of the one who finds the One Piece? All this chaos, and Vegapunk ends the message with that. What a time to be alive in the One Piece world, right? You see all these events happen mere weeks. In mere weeks, everything that I've listed. All this stuff happened, some of which isn't publicly known because, Celestial Dragon business is Celestial Dragon business. All this stuff happening in such a short frame of time, and then you have the smartest man in the world, the greatest mind that people say is 500 years ahead of anything else that everyone else is messing with. And he says that the One Piece whoever finds the One Piece will decide the fate of the world. Ain't the world already chaotic enough? Without Vegapunk going out there like, whoever finds the One Piece will decide the fate of the world. The world can't breathe. Finding out, and not only that, but this is all happening right after Vegapunk said, the world is sinking. The world as we know it will sink into the sea. So imagine all this stuff that's happening from the Reverie through Wano all the way up until this message from Vegapunk. And every single significant thing that happened in between. There is no resting for this world. First you got earthquakes, then the world is sinking, then whoever finds the One Piece will decide the fate of the world. You got the 7 warlords. I could go through that list again, but I'm not going to, because then I'll just be repeating myself. The world of One Piece is did any of you ever think we would get to this level of chaos for One Piece? Going from the first episode, or going from the first chapter. Did any of you ever think we would get this chaotic? This world-shatteringly chaotic? Did you ever think we would ever see something like this in One Piece at all? I didn't. I knew we were going to be seeing some crazy stuff, but what we've witnessed on Egghead alone? Nah, I couldn't have imagined. I couldn't have imagined. Not in my wildest dreams. But that's what makes this story so great, though. That's what makes this story so amazing. But this is the reason why from the first chapter, no. No! Not even from the middle when we get to Marineford. Not even when we're starting the time skip. We still had no idea just how crazy things could have reached with Oda. And Oda just keeps showing you like, even after Wano, I didn't think it would end up getting this chaotic. Ain't it something though? After the whole ordeal with Kaido, who would have thought we would be seeing these events on Egghead, just letting us know that Oda says, oh, don't worry, it can get crazier. You ain't seen nothing yet. And this has been every single arc that Oda has done since, I want to say since the time skip. Because we thought things were crazy when the time skip started. We saw how strong the Straw Hat crew were, vastly stronger than they ever were before. Then we get Fishman Island. Then we get Punk Hazard. And then we get Dressrosa. And then we get Whole Cake Island. And then we get Zoe. And then we get Wano. And now we're here in Egghead. We get the Reverie. It's insanity. And you mean to tell me that we still got more? Things are gonna still ramp up after this? But this thought came to my mind as a distant thought that I completely ignore since a premonition of Madame Charlie. Ah, okay. Go ahead. Yeah, not this quick. But always brushed it off until it obviously come to the point now in Egghead. By all means, Halster, speak your mind. You have the floor. And I think I hear family. I think I hear family here as well. I think they got food. I'll be right back. Let me see if I can help them out. Halster, you go ahead and write out what you're about to say. I'll come back and I'll read it out. Let me go ahead and get food. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Put my food off to the side here. I'm not going to eat at my desk. I got a separate table for that. Even though on occasion I've done it. When Charlie said that Luffy would destroy Fishman Island, and I figured a way he'd do that in the distant future is destroying the Red Line. And with the Red Line destroyed, that mess with the seas and stuff like that mess with the sea and stuff like that, so I figured sea levels would rise and it'd be chaotic towards the end of the story, because I still believe in that theory even now that the Red Line falls. Sorry, I had to carry in a car part as well. But yeah, I never expected it to become like this now with the sea levels rising now. And when I say Luffy destroying Fishman Island, it wouldn't be on purpose, but it'd be inadvertently when he destroyed the Red Line. But yeah, that's what I believe, but clearly isn't the case at all. But I always figured it'd be after the world government is defeated. No gods are perched on top of the Red Line anymore, as the Celestial Dragons and world government are knocked off their pedestal. That's gonna come. That's gonna happen. That's definitely gonna happen. But I can see how current events would kind of like mess with your theory a little bit. What with, it's saying, what would it saying that the water levels are rising? So it'd be interesting to see what happens to the Red Line itself. And all of Marie Joie at the top of the Red Line. Because here's the thing. Doesn't the Red Line encompass like an overarching section of the world? But Marie Joie is only located at one part of it? So, has anyone ever questioned what's on the rest of the Red Line? Because Marie Joie just being at the top in one section of the world of the Red Line and there's nothing else across it? It couldn't just be like this bare wall that's just atop there. Has anyone ever wondered what's on the rest of the Red Line aside from Marie Joie? Has anyone ever wondered? Have we ever seen the back of Marie Joie? We truly never seen all of Marie Joie as a whole, but has anyone ever wondered about the entirety of the Red Line on the top? Let alone the entirety of Marie Joie? It's questions for later. But man, leave it to One Piece to make me want to question stuff even more. And I'm talking about One Piece, and I realize that this upcoming Sunday is going to be the last time that I read One Piece and say, like, hope y'all enjoy, can't wait to see you on my next video, and then says, like, have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples, on to my hero. This upcoming Sunday is going to be the last time that I say something like that. Because if we go to the chapters, I believe we're supposed to be getting a chapter this upcoming Sunday as well. So, yeah. So, we're getting a chapter of My Hero and Jujutsu. So, this upcoming Sunday will be the last time I have a session where I'm reading One Piece, My Hero, and Jujutsu in a single Sunday. Because this upcoming Sunday is the last day of My Hero. Man, it kind of feels bittersweet. But I'll save all my Hero stuff for later. But to think that One Piece would make me question so many things about it. Because I literally just went into the story just thinking, oh, this is cool. This dude wants to be the king of the pirates. And he's got to beat all these other pirates. I didn't realize there was going to be so much intrigue. Even now, after these events, I still think the Red Line falls at some point. Yeah, it goes the way of the Great North Wall in Game of Thrones. At some point, it's going to come down. That season could have actually been good. Could have actually been good. But I feel like at some point the Red Line, if it doesn't get destroyed, then Marie Joie does. If it doesn't get destroyed, then Marie Joie does. Because what happens when you destroy the place of the gods? There's apparently a WSW break after Sunday, so that means that all the manga will be going on a break after Sunday, Ogata. Thank you for keeping me updated. Because if that's the case, I mean, it'll be a break from One Piece and a break from Jujutsu, but it will also be the end of My Hero. Man, no, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to give my final words for My Hero and my overall experience with the story when I read its final chapter. Almost all walls built up are broken in anime. Yeah, the most recent example was literally the ending of Attack on Titan and the rumbling. I literally just watched a compilation of all the scenes of the rumbling. That might be one of the most terrifying depictions of an apocalyptic event in an anime I have ever seen. No one exempt. Everybody just dying. No one being able to get away. Not even being at sea protected you. It's just complete and total chaos. The fact that the game Attack on Titan 2 didn't have like a section where you could take on the rumbling as like a horde mode where you're just trying to survive the rumbling, I'm actually shocked that they never tried to do anything like that. That's a missed opportunity. But conversation for another time. Overall, One Piece was great in July. I'm looking forward to what we get in August. A lot of things I really want to do in August. That includes that I intend to do in August, and that includes playing Black Myth Wukong, which is one of my most anticipated games of the past couple of years, to be honest. Not just this year. And I don't just mean literally or metaphorically, but I mean one's hyped up too. Yeah. But yeah, I've been looking forward to Black Myth Wukong for quite a long period of time, and I can't wait to play for you guys when it drops on August 21st. But overall, we still got some things to do this week. We have the beginning after the end tomorrow, and I know the Solo Leveling Ragnarok chapters drop tomorrow, but that's only in Korea. There hasn't been an English date released for it yet, at least at the time of me saying this, as far as I know. But as soon as those chapters drop, I will be covering Solo Leveling Ragnarok, and I'll be doing a little bit of a recap of the story of Solo Leveling before we get started on Solo Leveling Ragnarok, so we all can get caught up to speed on all things Solo Leveling. So we'll be doing that on Friday. I believe that's going to be our deep dive, our Devil Fruit deep dive, where we talk about the Logia fruits. And that'll conclude my deep dives for Devil Fruits as a whole for One Piece. And then Saturday will be People's Choice, where I'll just put a poll up on what you guys will want for a Saturday session. So I'll probably put it up, today, rather than wait a day before, because this will give more people an option to vote for the poll as well. So that's going to be something that we do as well. But that's pretty much the lineup for what we got for this week. Sunday, you already know. We got One Piece, we got Jujutsu, and my final reading of My Hero Academia as the series ends. So that's gonna be a moment, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Ogata, Halster, Shonen Sensei 2.0, Ozzy, CDs. It's good to see all of you. It was great for you guys to be here as we talked about One Piece once again on the final day of every month. But it's been an honor and a privilege, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time out to watch me. With that being said, There it is. With that being said, as my food is still hot in the bag, I just wanted to say, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!